My name is Rachel Torres, and the day I turned 18, my father told me something I'll never forget. If you can't forgive your sister, you don't belong here anymore. I didn't forgive her, so I left. That night, I walked out with one duffel bag, my laptop, and about $300 in cash. Everything else? Gone, including the $8,700 I'd been saving since I was 15 to pay for community college. My older sister Emily had drained my account. Not stolen it, technically. My mom had co signed when I opened it at 16, and she'd handed Emily the login because she was going through a hard time. Emily wasn't going through a hard time. She'd totaled her boyfriend's car while driving drunk, and now she needed money to pay him back before he pressed charges. When I confronted my parents, my mom didn't even blink. She just said, "Rachel, you've always been the responsible one. You'll figure it out. Your sister needed help now." I asked if anyone planned to pay me back. My dad slid a piece of paper across the kitchen table. It was a handwritten note saying I'd given Emily the money as a gift. He told me to sign it so there wouldn't be any confusion later. I looked at both of them. Then I looked at Emily standing in the doorway with her arms crossed, not saying a word. I didn't sign anything. My dad stood up and said, "Then I think it's time you found somewhere else to stay." So I did. I crashed with a friend from high school for 2 weeks. Then I got a night shift stocking shelves at a warehouse. I slept in my car between shifts sometimes because I didn't want to overstay my welcome. I enrolled in one class at a time because that's all I could afford. Slowly, over 3 years, I finished my associate's degree. Then I got hired as a medical assistant. Then I moved into my own studio apartment. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. During all of that, my family didn't call. Not once. No birthdays, no holidays, nothing. Until one night 5 years after I left. I was getting ready for bed when my phone rang. It was my mom. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. She was crying. She didn't say hi, she didn't ask how I was, she just said, "Rachel, we need you to come home, it's about Emily." I asked what happened. She got quiet. Then she said, "There's been a situation with Mia." Mia is my niece, Emily's daughter. She was 7 years old at the time. I asked again, what happened? My mom wouldn't say. She just kept repeating that I needed to come help, that this was family, that Emily was in trouble and they didn't know what else to do. I told her I'd think about it. Then I hung up. The next day, I didn't go to their house. Instead, I called a friend who works in social services. I gave her Emily's name and asked if there was anything I should know. 2 hours later, she called me back. There was an open case. A neighbor had called 911 after hearing a child screaming alone in Emily's apartment at 2 a.m. When the cops showed up, Mia had been by herself for over 6 hours. Emily was out with her boyfriend, at a bar. She didn't come home until almost 4 in the morning. Child Protective Services had been called. They were deciding if Mia could stay in the home. That's when I realized why my mom had called. They didn't need me. They needed my address, my clean record, my stable job. They wanted to put my name down as Mia's legal guardian so the case would go away, but keep her living with them like nothing ever happened. I sat there for a long time just staring at my phone. And then, I swear, I started laughing. Not because it was funny, because it was so predictable. The same people who threw me out for not being a team player now wanted to use everything I'd built without them. But here's the thing. I wasn't that scared 18-year-old anymore. I called the caseworker myself the next morning. I told her she was Mia's aunt, that I had a stable home and income, and that I wanted to be considered as a placement option, a real one. She asked if my family knew I was calling. I said, "Not yet." The process took about 6 weeks. Background check, home visit, references, interview with Mia. The whole time, my parents kept blowing up my phone asking what I was doing, trying to coordinate stories, telling me not to say certain things. I ignored all of it. Mia started staying with me on weekends. The first time she came over, she didn't say much. She asked if it was okay to use the bathroom. She asked if she was allowed to open the fridge. She tiptoed around like she thought I'd snap at any second. One Saturday morning, I made pancakes. She ate 2 bites and then stopped. I asked if she didn't like them. She shook her head and whispered, "I don't want to waste them if I'm not supposed to have more." I told her she could have as many as she wanted, that this was her home too now. She stared at me like I was speaking another language. A week later, I found something while putting away laundry. A small blue backpack stuffed in the corner of her closet. Inside was a change of clothes, a granola bar, a juice box, her toothbrush, and a stuffed giraffe. When I asked her about it, she said, "I keep it ready so I don't forget anything when I have to leave fast." That's when it hit me. She'd been packing a go bag, just like I had. I sat down on the floor next to her and said, "You don't have to do that anymore. You're not going anywhere unless you want to." She looked at me with these huge eyes and asked, "Promise?" I promised. 3 months later, I was granted full legal custody. My parents fought it. Emily cried in court and said I was keeping her daughter from me. My dad called me selfish, said I was tearing the family apart. The judge didn't agree. That was 4 years ago. Mia's 11 now. That blue backpack is still in her closet, but now it's full of art supplies and books. She doesn't pack it out of fear. She packs it because she's going to a sleepover, or to the park, or to her friend's house after school. And every time I see it, I'm reminded that you can't fix people who don't want to change, but you can stop the cycle from reaching the next generation. Being called the strong one isn't a compliment when it just means everyone expects you to suffer quietly. Real strength is knowing when to walk away. And sometimes it's knowing to come back, not for them, but for someone who actually needs you. If this story made you feel something, drop a comment. Have you ever been the strong one in your family? We'd love to hear what that looked like for you. And if you want more true stories about standing up, breaking cycles, and choosing yourself, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll see you in the next one.